Smoothie. Alright, should we give this a go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Coffee.
Welcome GBHL podcasters from around the world to a
video.
And it's been an awful long time. In fact, there are probably many people who are watching this who are thinking, who the hell are you?
I'm sure there's about 10 people watching this. You're thinking, who the hell are you?
To be fair, I think even if there are 10 of you watching, thank you for watching, because we're not really doing it for that, are we, Jamie?
No, not anymore.
So for those of you that don't know us, GBHL, Jamie and myself, we first started this channel you started the channel back in 2013?
About then, I think.
2013. And of course, a long time has passed and many things have happened in our lives since. And we don't really get an opportunity to catch up anymore.
At all. Been about a year. Year and a half.
Since the last Desolation of Stockport.
Yeah. our last video that went out on here is September 2018.
Oh my days.
That's a long time ago.
So that's probably just before the tickets went on sale for the Desolation of Stockport. We had that. Is it Desolation of Stockport next week? I think it
must be, yeah.
But I guess the event that we run, Desolation of Stockport, together gives us that opportunity on an annual basis to have our catch up.
Yeah.
But it's also a nice time from a nostalgia perspective. We look back at it and we think about the time when we first got together doing these YouTube videos, and just how much has changed in our lives, and how important it felt to us at the time.
Yeah. So we started back using our awful phones to record everything, and then we got an even worse camera recorder.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's some of the original content if you can go back and check it out, and then
look at us now.
Look at us now on a camcorder.
In a studio,
in a studio that we don't know.
Yeah, this isn't our studio. I mean, it was the dream. I just said then, we were laughing a little bit. This was the dream. This is what we were kind of aiming for, and it didn't really go that way. But
we've got 4 big lights, a big black space, surrounded by board games.
What more could you want?
And that was what we really wanted it to be way back then. But life happens, doesn't it?
Life happens. So we want this video to be, as much as it's for Jamie and I, it's an opportunity to have that nostalgia again. It's that opportunity to feel like we felt when we were first doing the GBHL podcast together, because it was a magical time. It did take up a lot of time out of our weeks, and it did feel like it was almost the most important thing in the world, especially our first year.
Definitely.
The game was in a very different place, and
it was almost like even though it was only 1 or 2 days a week, when I was at work, it was all I thought about. Like, whereas if I finish at this time, I can get to Element Games, we can record 4 games, then I've got a day off tomorrow, I can get them edited, and that'll see us through the next week. And that's how it felt the entire time. And it was so fun for like the first, I'd say, year or two. And then it was almost like it became a rod for our own back.
Yeah,
we especially went down. There was a period of time we started doing daily content.
Yes.
And that was when obviously Tom and Damien came on board, and then we all started. I don't know. It felt like it was going somewhere.
It did. It very much felt like it was going somewhere. There was a lot of momentum. We had the huge advantage that there wasn't anybody else doing it.
No, at all.
So a big shout out to everybody who's sort of carrying that banner these days. The game is in a very, very different place than it was back then. And there's a lot of YouTube content out there, which I guess has taken away like a huge amount of the importance of doing what we were doing at the time. We were just, I guess, messing around in some ways, but it did feel like it was the most important thing to kind of support the game and show people that there were people that played the game.
I think that's a huge part of it as well, is the fact that there was no Games Workshop or Warhammer support during those first few years that we were doing it. And it was almost like a way to reconnect people and keep the hobby going and keep the game alive. Obviously then once the Hobbit was confirmed and the miniatures were going to be made for that, it was like a huge achievement. It felt like the GBHL podcast had kept the community going, showed Games Workshop that wanted to happen through the Desolations of Stockport, through the entire league. And then I think Games Workshop sort of carried it with their own, because they started doing their own live streams, and we were like, okay, well maybe we're not as needed. There were lots of people wanting to, I guess, emulate and improve upon what we were doing.
Which wasn't hard, to be
fair.
as you'll probably notice with this video. But yeah, this video is a good opportunity for Jamie and I to catch up, talk about what we've been doing the last few years, the last year in particular, what's different in our lives. So for those of you that are interested, obviously stay tuned in. And I think as well, you know, we do talk every now and again about wanting to re-engage in this process, you know, from a nostalgia point of view. Jamie hit the nail on, you hit the nail on the head there completely, which was, it kind of got to a point where, because it was dominating so much of your time, you know, particularly your work or self-employed, you know, or you're starting to have a family, you feel like you have to kind of earn for that time. So you make a rod for your own back, you put up more content, you focus, you just want subs, you know, you want people coming onto Patreon, you want to get merch out, you want to start doing these things because you're ultimately trying to
recoup some cash for that time, yeah.
Absolutely, trying to get some time, and it kind of changes, it morphs, it becomes quite try hard, and you lose the soul of what it was that kind of got you there in the first place, really.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, a pure kind of enjoyment of the game,
yeah.
talking about it, of communicating with you guys. Obviously we did Speak Fan and Question, which is a great opportunity to have back and forth with the community, and spending time with each other as well.
Yeah.
You know,
all the off-camera stuff.
All the off-camera stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure we'll include even some of the pre-live stuff that we went through just before on here. So we do want to do that, and if that's something that would interest you, you know, do stick it in the comments below. It's not the most important thing in the world. I think we'd be doing it more because it was an opportunity to spend that time together again.
Yeah, definitely.
And as a hobby, because I don't know about you, but for myself, I wouldn't play a game without it being, unless I was at a tournament, without it being filmed.
Previously. Oh yeah, definitely. If there was any chance to record content, then it would have to be taken.
Absolutely. And it was everything. It was from like your whole hobby experience was dominated by like
this camera. This camera had to always be there, ready to record what you were doing. Whether you were just cleaning up some miniatures, it was a chance to talk to the camera.
Yeah.
Painting some miniatures, it was a chance to do the hobby blogs. It was everything, every step of the way. Even we always thought about it. We never touched on it. The list building stuff.
We did a little bit because we did the army books, didn't we? And we talked about sort of how to. I mean, you were better at that than me.
Not now, though. Not now.
Well, you know, both of us, I think, would hold our hands up and say that we're relatively, you know, out of it in that sense. But I think
super casual.
You again, you hit the nail on the head. It was like every time that we even bought miniatures. And sometimes we bought miniatures purely
just to so many miniatures. I had when I cleared out at the last Desolation of Stockport, I had like 12 of everything because I just bought them to unbox them, paint them, and then find a use for them in like Deadliest Warband.
Yep.
So right, I need some Reavers, I'll buy some Reavers.
We did that, didn't we? So for Middle-earth's Deadliest Warband, particularly the first series, it was literally a case of, right, well, we need to have everything.
Yeah.
We need to own everything. So, you know, that was a massive investment of not just time, but also resources financially. And then you'd have the camera on, you'd do your unboxing. You know, like, unboxing, you know, we get 5 unboxings done. That's this number of weeks of content. This is this number of days of content. And we'd be so excited about it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was every time that you opened a book, every time that we went to an event. I mean, that first year in particular, the investment of time and money to go to every GBHL event,
every month,
to
every
support
weekend.
them.
Yeah. Well, the thing like the biggest change in my life in the past 2 years is the fact that I've met Emma, the love of my life, and we like.
She's cool.
She's awesome, and granted, I wasn't playing Lord of the Rings at that point, but I was playing a lot of Warhammer Underworlds. And they're quick one-day events, and so in my mind I was like, well, these are only one-day events, and you know, go to like 1 or 2 of these a month shouldn't be too much, but it is. Like,
it is.
When you're not part of that hobby, like Emma quite openly told me she feels I spend more time thinking about and doing the hobby than I like. Why would I rather spend time doing the hobby than I would with her?
Yeah.
And
I imagine that there's a lot of people out there that can relate with that because I certainly can.
Yeah, and it's not even in like a mean-spirited way.
Not at all.
From Emma's point of view, and like don't get that misconstrued. But and then I start to realise, oh, maybe I am. I do think a lot about the hobby, probably more than I would for a hobby.
Yeah.
And so then I started to rein that back in quite heavily, and so much now that I'm basically just casual on the internet watching videos, and I don't really go to tournaments anymore. but I'm more than happy to spend my weekends with her and my brand new little dog Daisy.
So this is one of the things that's new in your life, of course, Daisy. So what kind of dog is Daisy?
She's a little Yorkshire Terrier, and she is a terrier.
Choice.
She is a terrier.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Greets everybody when they come in.
Loves everyone who comes in the door.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a bad bone in her body, but if a car backfires or a motorbike revs, my God, the whole house knows about it.
I bet, yeah. They are like that little Yorkies. But we've only got so much time, haven't we?
Yes,
and
let's not digress too much.
That's the that used to be my job. That was my job on the podcast. You'd know things, and I would just fill it. But yeah, we do only have so much time.
Yeah.
And I think when you know, I guess not necessarily when you see, because I wasn't single, but you know, Jane very much asked the same question, particularly when we were going to events. Sort of, it was nearly every other weekend. It was one a month, and she'd be like, you know, you could be taking me somewhere for that. Yeah. Like, why not?
And for that cost.
Like, for that cost.
Like, not even just like the time cost is huge. That's a big part of this world now, is the fact that we're all quite, let's say, monetary sound, time poor. There's not enough time to do everything nowadays. But like, you're not spending time with the missus, as it were, and then also the amount you spend, especially for someone who doesn't drive like myself, on public transport. Not for long. A couple of months, and I'll be driving. But like public transport, hotel, food, drink.
Yeah.
The few extra bits you need for your army.
Yeah.
The time spent doing all that. It all adds up, and it's like, well, yeah, you know what? I could take the family away.
Yeah, and that's not to say that these aren't parts of our life that we don't or didn't enjoy, or
no, I loved it. I loved every moment of that, but it's a different time.
I guess it's more about communicating something which, again, I'm sure many of you understand and can empathise.
Come to Desolation of Stockport, though. Don't take that as a reason not to come. Buy tickets.
So at the moment, it looks like we've got about 50 coming, so we are looking forward to seeing you all. And just, you know, bear with us with those rules queries. we'll do our best, like we always do. But yeah, you know, it's a good point to make, and you know, it's the same with myself. I noticed a massive change, sort of, especially going from having Eleanor to then, you know, we've had Elsie since the last made video. So I have another daughter. She's 8 months. You know, and you look at it and you go, would I rather spend?
Where's my priority?
Where is my priority? And that's not to say that I don't enjoy this time, or you shouldn't make this time, but you do have to try and find that balance. And I think the point is that the amount of time that we used to put in to the GBHL podcast, you know, was literally you're talking between a day and a half and 2 days solid of work. Like the editing of content, you were the same. Yeah. We'd stay up until like 3-4 in the morning just to get content ready for the next day and
get it uploaded.
Absolutely. So, you know, that's probably never going to happen again, especially with the realisation that, you know,
maybe about 20 years time.
yeah. I mean, I very much, from my own point of view, obviously I've my 2 daughters now, and you know, there'll come a point where both of those are at school. This first 4 years is so precious, because there'll be a point where I don't have a choice. Yeah. You know, like they'll be away, and I think that at that point, it's one of the reasons why, although I've shifted a lot of my stuff, because you end up with a lot of stuff. I also look at it and think there will come a time where I will be able to sit down and Jane will be in work, and because of the nature of my business, where I'm early mornings, late nights, I'll have the middle of the day, and I might want to get stuff out and paint it, and I might want to re-engage in that filming process when that comes. But I think before then, we just want to we want to see what we can do, don't we? We want to see whether we'd be able to spend a bit more time together.
I think as well, like
content. Just
off the top of my head now, one way that we could do it is through the through live stream, through Skype, through that kind of way. So that way, there's not that. I'd much prefer to meet up in person, because I think it's a better video. But that is.
Let's see if we can meet here, Jamie.
Yeah,
this is.
Theoretically, we could meet here, definitely. This is where I work, Steam Forge Games. We've got the studio space that we've booked out. So
let's talk a little bit about that, because that's really interesting. Because of course, when these guys met you, those of you that do know who Jamie Giblin is, when these guys met you, what were you doing at the time?
So I was a duty manager at Legoland Discovery Centre, and then for that short period of time went on Patreon, and you guys kept my the house for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you paid my rent, so thank you very much for that time. But then, I know good fortune struck, and Byron at the time worked for Steamforged Games, brought me on board, just packing boxes to get extra cash, and now I'm the community manager as part of the marketing team at Steamforged Games, and Steamforged Games has gone from strength to strength, and yeah, I guess
there's lots of new things coming.
I guess that's something I should have clarified earlier on, is that my hobby time, I work in the industry now, so my hobby time I'm enjoying spending outside the industry.
Yeah. And that's very common. I hear that a lot from people who have ended up going down that route.
Yeah. And yeah, just I'm surrounded by toy soldiers day in, day out, and my free time is now away from that. And that's probably why I enjoy it so much.
Now, a real kind of interesting sort of observation from my point of view, and maybe sort of question that other people might want to ask is, of course, you know, you started doing the GBHL podcast when you weren't working in this industry. What impact, especially with the specifics of what you do and what you're involved in, what impact do you think being part of the GBHL podcast, filming content, doing YouTube videos has had in your career development? Because clearly, like I still remember when I was doing the Hotcakes Gaming Guildball videos, and I can remember there was a particular video where you were teaching me season 3 or whatever it was at the time, and I was, well, let's not talk about that, but let's talk about the video where you were telling me the changes in the rules, not the game itself. But and I can remember being sat there and thinking how much you'd changed as a person, like in a good way. Like just how much you'd come on, how confident you were that you were leading that video. You know, and very much sort of before, like I run fitness classes and I'm a front-facing person. And you know, I filled the content, and you very much knew what you were talking about. And I was sat there and I was looking at you, and you were confident, and you were you were asking the questions, and you were engaging. You were doing, and not to say you weren't those things before, but it was just really quite warming to sort of see that journey myself.
I think any time it's involved with business for me, or like my workplace, I've got a different persona in the workplace, basically.
Yeah, I think everyone
does. But yeah, I mean, the GBHL podcast, presenting videos, I now present videos for Steamforged Games when it's applicable, and generally are the main host of them, even though I might not be the fountain of knowledge for those of them, but I know how to direct them around.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's helped out massively, and it's one of those like chicken egg things. I'd love to go back to the start of GBHL podcast with what I know now, and be able to do it all over again. Yeah. But sadly, that's not how time works.
No, it's not. But it also, you know, because I'm very much the same feeling, you know, that I miss the filming. It's what we were talking before about, you know, every time that we unboxed, that we opened our own toy soldiers, it was filmed. Every time that we painted, it was filmed. Or, you know, the filming was as much, if not more, of the hobby for me. And
definitely. The content creation was the hobby, not the actual hobby itself.
I love that, and I love that journey of, you know, for those of you who were there during those early videos, or if you're willing to sort of go back and sort of do your throwback Thursdays or whatever they're called, you know, and start looking back through some of that old content. Like, I really found it interesting, something that, you know, I hadn't learned professionally. Same with yourself, we hadn't learned it professionally. We were very much amateurs. Self-taught, and seeing, like, because we really wanted to try and improve what we were doing all the time.
It was always mini wargaming was the standard we shot for the entire time.
Yeah, that kind of style as well. You know, and those guys are obviously doing great. Like, it blew my mind. So I didn't have a wargaming background. Really. Like, I sort of dabbled my fingers in it before I met you. Sort of wanting to give it a go, and I remember when I saw mini wargaming, I'm thinking, I could not believe these guys in Canada have this as a business. It blew my mind, you know. And yet, you know, we talk about sort of transferable skills. The things that I learned doing this are transferred great into my own work, my own business and things, you know. So it has had its value in that way. You noticed?
Yeah.
What do you know?
In your videos, in your photos you take.
Yeah. Lots of people, I get complimented quite a lot on the social media. People say, who does the social media? I'm like, that's me. That's me. So I do try. But you are obviously a professional in that regard, so you can.
I'll take it. I've got a title.
Any tips? Any tips you can let me know. So that's quite nice as well, I suppose. Is, you know, we have a lot to thank this process for as well. And I think that's also why there's that little, not necessarily nag, but there's that little feeling deep inside where you're like, I would love to just every now and again just do something like this, like today, where we get an opportunity to talk to the community, to the camera, even if nobody's watching, so that we can get that feeling that we had.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, every Thursday, without fail, at yours for 1 o'clock or 2 at 1 or 2, record Speak for Any Question. Say we'll record about it, but then don't. Because Speak for Any Question never around.
Got anything to unbox? Yeah. Speak for Any Question would overrun quite often. Yeah. See, that's the thing as well. Like that was really our most regular content. Of course, that was our show for the most part, and yet we wouldn't necessarily be able to bring that back right now because we wouldn't
just don't have the knowledge.
The knowledge of the community. Because what we had back then when we started, I suppose, was that you obviously in particular, but whilst there was a community, that community weren't really engaging in games on a regular kind of basis. So one of the most common stories that you'd hear with the Lord of the Rings SBG, then when it became the Hobbit SBG, was that there's no one around here that plays it. And it's one of the things that was really good about the One Ring forum and the Last Alliance is it kept people who weren't necessarily getting to play games, like maybe they went to the Warhammer World Grand Tournament, but once a year, but they weren't really getting to play games that often. So it wasn't that kind of saturation of that. And then you had the obviously the GBHL podcast, people were able to feel like they were involved and in the game. Yeah. And with us then being the ones who were going around and going to all of these tournaments and getting to play games more and being part of a community that were playing quite regularly, it meant that we were, on the whole, particularly yourself, able to answer questions that other people wouldn't necessarily know. Where actually now, people are playing regular games. There are lots of local communities, local leagues, shops of people playing it, and that's...
Well, the fact that the Great British Hobbit League Facebook group exists and is active and has thousands of members means that rather than posting on, weirdly enough, the world just keeps getting quicker. Rather than posting on a YouTube video and waiting a week to hear your answer and hear your name said out on the screen, you can just post the question in the Facebook group and immediately someone will be there. Yeah, someone knowledgeable will be there to answer you. Yeah,
much more knowledgeable than we are, and instant. So it kind of made us and that show a bit irrelevant, really. So I guess we've got to get our thinking caps on, and what kind of videos
these people want to see.
Yeah, what kind of things we would like to do. Yeah. Because again, not to dish you guys off too much, but this is as much about ourselves.
I was enjoying it again. Yeah.
Us enjoying this process and having an outlet where we get to talk to each other, talk about our hobby, and maybe some people are watching and feel like that's happening, happening regardless. So I mean, if you're from back in the day and this video is giving you a little bit of a nostalgic prod or kick, maybe you guys have got some suggestions, or maybe you just want to give us a bit of an update on how you are, because we don't get to talk to you all the time. This might be a nice outlet for that. Let us know how life is, what's going on,
see if any of those old names creep back into memory.
I still think it's amazing when you look at those first videos, just how we look. It's just how we look.
You can tell I'm single.
I have no idea what you mean, Mr. Goodling. Right? No idea what you mean. But you're just so young.
Yes, that's the scariest thing. So I think the scariest thing is if I've done it because just out of sheer curiousness, is to go back to the first videos and watch yourself just get older and older and older, and then thinner and then fatter. it's a
journey as well, because you just see the expand of both of us, the thinning and the expanding of both of us, facial hair
comes and goes up and down, and then
you had an afro and I had a big ice cream cone. And things have changed a lot in that time.
That's funny.
But that's one of the things as well that I really liked about pushing Desolation of Stockport. Even though we had to do it quite late, Desolation of Stockport was a week after the GT, which is actually happening this weekend. So we ended up pushing it quite late. We weren't sure whether we were going to do it or not. And part of the promo is tapping into that nostalgia, because for a lot of people, we come into Desolation of Stockport. You know, there
one of their first events.
Yeah, so you had like the Long Bottom Carnival, you had the guys at Titan, obviously Sam Page had been doing things with Sussex Wargamers. You know, there's a few that were kind of dotted about. I've even seen like JTs that were in Huddersfield. Malice in Wonderland in that kids ball pool party place. It was a bit strange, but good times.
It was all brand new and exciting at the time.
It was, and you know, we met so many people, so many of you guys, you know, through Desolation of Stockport. So it's nice kind of looking back at like those player interviews or that promo video gets me every time.
Oh, for God's sake.
That was so good. Because what people might not realise is that we went into that process of trying to film that promo video for that. If you've not seen
it was totally storyboarded and well thought out,
It was. To a degree, we kind of knew what we wanted to do, but we realised quite quickly that it was and it was just becoming a parody of itself. So, you know, a lot of it is us trying to be serious, and then we couldn't be. So just like, you know what, we just
lead into the skid.
Yeah, absolutely. Just let it be what it is.
Lead into the car crash, well, whichever way you want.
But I mean, if there was ever a video, I suppose, that captures where we were at the time, that probably is
probably a very good one.
That's probably a really good one, because that's what was happening behind the scenes all the time. We were. Do we swear on YouTube? We don't swear on YouTube. We've always had a policy. We were wetting ourselves with laughter a lot of the time. We were in absolute stitches, and to bring some of that back from a hobby perspective, I think it'd be really nice. Yeah. Really nice. So it'd be good to hear from some of you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this kind of little bit of touching base.
Little catch up, see where we're up to.
Yeah, see what's going on with our lives, and you know, we will make an effort to sort of get on the comments of
definitely get in there and
have a little bit of a chat. And if people would like to see a little bit more of this, I'd love to catch up with you a little bit more.
For sure. I mean, I've had ideas like about painting miniatures, because D&D is my hobby outlet now.
Yeah.
And it amazes me the how poor D&D miniatures are in general. Mm-hmm. You'd be amazed, and how impressed the group that I play with are. Even just like Lord of the Rings, like old Lord of the Rings miniatures, where we see like the old wood elves who've got like a squinchy face. Yeah. That's amazing to them. That's like, whoa, that is detailed. You're like, you've not seen nothing yet.
Yeah, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah. So, I'm painting up a few player characters. I just thought that might be a nice like thing to do.
Yeah.
To give that outlet back, or to feel those creative juices flowing again.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea, and I've been thinking about it myself as well. For again, it always comes back to time, and what time when I look across the week would I be prepared to give myself? And I've actually got there's a day now in the week where Jane's gone back to work now as of this week for you know, obviously after maternity leave. And although it's absolutely crushed me, because I feel like Elsie is far too small for a day in nursery. But Elsie is in nursery on a Wednesday, on the same day that Eleanor is. Now, I work all day on a Wednesday, but all day when you're a personal trainer or fitness instructor is 6 until 12 and then 4 until 9. And I'm looking at that window between 12 and 4, not to put too much pressure on myself, but I think I could probably do a little bit of talk and painting kind of style content, or just some kind of content. So whilst I'd like to do maybe a little bit of that, and that might be my window to do that side of it, I think
the irregulars.
My more important thing would be to do something,
chat,
absolutely, and just be chatting about the hobby, and maybe it can be a little bit of our journey, kind of rediscovering. I mean, I've been playing a little bit. We've got a really good local community. So ages ago, you came up with the logo, didn't you, for Manchester SBG, the B, which is really good. And because the local scene has grown quite a lot, not just in Element Games, but obviously you've got the Forge here. You've got Johnny's down in
Rebel Base Gaming,
absolutely.
Goblin Gaming up in Northwich.
Yes, there's quite a few kind of locally. So we've got this idea of the Team Manchester going, and there's like a slow grow campaign which has been set up at Element Games. That's encouraged me to paint the Iron Hills dwarves that have remained unpainted and unbuilt since the first Ardacon. Yeah, well, I spent more on my Iron Hills dwarves than Games Workshop did for their stand at Ardacon in the first year. To give you an idea, they did very, very well. But obviously it was again different time. But yeah, finally started doing some of those. So that's kind of got me going. And because there's a lot of new players, you know, I don't feel...
Easy wins.
If you say that. No, not necessarily. But it's more that thing of, because they are so new, they are asking you questions. And,
Yeah.
you know, so you do understand. And they're asking you questions which are to do with the core mechanics of the game, which, you know, haven't particularly changed. So you can actually help with that. And that's also reminding me of that early part of the journey. So yeah, maybe we could do something along those lines where you guys get to see us kind of getting a bit of a feel for what we would like to do again, you know, because it might be something that's kind of small. So maybe you do want to get a bit of a game together and do a small scale. Maybe you should start do your 300 point slow grow, and we'll see. Since you sold all your miniatures, I'll give you some of mine.
Cheers, thanks.
No, well, I hope you've enjoyed this video, everybody, and yeah, just a big shout out to all of you out there, and you know, well done for staying engaged, and well done to everybody else who's been flying the flag.
Thanks for making it this far in the video.
Yeah, I know. What, 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
It's been lovely catching up with you as well. So, I guess we don't have to do all that kind of like.
No. Farewell for now. We'll see you at Desolation of Stockport. Can you still do it though? Should we try? Should be sure to comment, like, share, and subscribe.
Support your Make sure you like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Support your hobby.
And happy strategy battle gaming, guys.
There you go.
Oh, you never lose it.
Don't forget to ride the bike.
See you, everyone.